Welcome to Eastern and Western Classical Wisdom Essence, where ancient knowledge meets modern curiosity. We explore timeless wisdom from both Eastern and Western philosophies, history, and cultural traditions, bringing you insightful discussions and fascinating discoveries. Join us as we unlock the secrets of the past to inspire the present and shape the future.
Exploring Feng Shui, Part 1: A brief discussion of Feng Shui. In many Asian countries, there are many Feng Shui enthusiasts. They have learned some Feng Shui theories from the traditional texts, and through years of research and validation, they have found that Feng Shui can indeed play a certain role. Western scientists have also discovered the phenomenon of energy flow and geoelectricity in the Earth, which is consistent with the theory of Feng Shui. Many large Western companies and Southeast Asian tycoons even hire full-time Feng Shui masters and consult them on every matter. Feng Shui originated in China, which is widely recognized. There is a saying in Chinese folk culture: 5 important factors are fate, fortune, Feng Shui, accumulating yin gong, and studying. One's destiny is determined by the first 3 predetermined factors, fate, fortune, and Feng Shui, while the last 2 factors can be influenced by human actions. The role of Feng Shui is considered to be predetermined, far surpassing the idea that studying can change one's fate. In the 5,000 years of Chinese history, Feng Shui has become an important part of people's lives. From emperors and generals to ordinary citizens, from imperial palaces to streets and alleys, almost everyone has dealt with Feng Shui. Whether it is the location and layout of the capital, the design and construction of cities, or the orientation of yin and yang residences and furniture placement, people consult Feng Shui experts to calculate their fortune and avoid misfortune. With the industrialization movement of the past century, Feng Shui and traditional Chinese culture seem to have become increasingly distant from us, and people subconsciously regard them as a synonym for backwardness. But is this really the case? You must read our article to gain a different perspective and understanding. The Renaissance movement that prevailed in Europe in the 16th century was driven by the glory of ancient Greek and Roman civilizations, which led to the development of modern industry and even modern civilization, bringing us the technologically advanced modern society. We believe that the revival of traditional Chinese culture will also bring a bright future to the Chinese people. We hope to work with many Feng Shui enthusiasts to conduct research and exploration on Feng Shui in traditional Chinese culture to promote the revival and prosperity of Chinese culture and bring good news to people of all countries around the world. The content of this article is limited to a certain scope, and due to our limited level of cultivation, there may be some shortcomings or errors. We would appreciate any feedback for communication and discussion. This article has received many suggestions and quotes from colleagues, and we express our gratitude for all of them. Section 1: A brief discussion of Feng Shui. When it comes to Feng Shui, there are certainly many questions people have, such as what Feng Shui is, why it works, and where it comes from. If these basic questions are not answered clearly, many people will have difficulty understanding Feng Shui, especially in mainland China, where some people simply dismiss it as superstition. Let's start by exploring the surface origins of the term Feng Shui step by step. 1. The origin of Feng Shui. The term Feng Shui originated from Guopu's book Zong Shu, the burial book, in the Wei and Jin dynasties. In the book, Guopu defined Feng Shui as the burial of the deceased, hiding and taking advantage of the life force. When the life force is carried by the wind, it dissipates, and when it encounters water, it stops. The ancients gathered it to prevent dissipation and used it to create a sense of stillness, hence it is called Feng Shui. Guopu introduced the concept of qi and extracted the 2 elements of wind and water to understand the coming and gathering of the qi. Because he was the first to mention the term Feng Shui in his book Zong Shu and established the theoretical framework of Feng Shui, he is considered the founder of the Feng Shui field. In fact, the history of Feng Shui is much longer than that of Zong Shu. Later Feng Shui scholars believed that there were descriptions of Feng Shui activities in the Book of Songs and the Great Odes of Qi by Gong Lu, Duke Lu of Du, at Susiyuan, in the season of verdure and bloom, went up to sacrifice, and descended to the low grounds. Duke Lu of Du, passing by those 100 springs, viewing those wide-spreading waters, mounted the southern hill, and looked at the capital. In every place in the capital were displayed the emblems of rank, were established the dwellings, and spoken the words. Duke Lu of Du, when he reached the river and the long lake, and the hills became more and more distant, observed the intermingling of the light and shade, and watched the flowing of the streams. He measured the lowlands, and measured the evening sun, and retired to his tranquil dwelling. From these poetic descriptions, we can see the ancient people observing hills, descending to low grounds, passing by water, and looking at the capital while performing Xiangdia Feng Shui activities. This process is quite similar to the 4 steps of Feng Shui that later scholars performed, seeking dragons, examining sand, observing water, and locating acupuncture points. In the Great Odes of Qi, in the Book of Songs, there is also a relevant description. Ancient Duke Danfu came to court with his horse and passed the Westwater and arrived at Qixia. There he met Lady Jiang, and together they went to observe the Xuyu. Ancient Duke Danfu, the father of Jili, was the ancestor of King Wen of Zhou. He led his clan to migrate to Qishan. The meaning of a Xuyu in the poem refers to observation and scrutiny. These Feng Shui activities were called Xiangdi or Xingfa by the people of that time. Feng Shui is also called Kenyu. This term first appeared in the 3rd volume of Tianwen Sun in Huainan Zi, compiled by Luan, the king of Huainan during the Western Han Dynasty. During the Eastern Han Dynasty, Su Shen said, "Ken represents the heavenly path, and Yu represents the earthly path." Feng Shui, also known as geomancy, was first mentioned in the Shizia section of the Book of Changes. Zhou the Book of Changes is accurate regarding the principles of heaven and earth, and thus it is able to rectify the disorders of heaven and earth. By looking up, one observes the phenomena of astronomy. By looking down, one examines the geomancy. Thus, one can understand the reasons for light and darkness. By the time Guapu wrote the Burial Book, he was already standing on the shoulders of giants. Besides organizing some Feng Shui theories, he mainly established the term Feng Shui. Like the term a Qigong that came later, it is difficult to discern the divination and surveying of heaven and earth from the literal meaning of Feng Shui without studying it. Whether it's Qigong or Feng Shui, both talk about a Qi. Nowadays, many people understand it as airflow, but that is not entirely accurate. Simplified Chinese characters have simplified too many characters, resulting in some ambiguity in understanding. Here, Qi is better understood as a Chinese symbol of Qi, without fire, which comes from ancient Taoist culture in China and represents energy. Currently, what the public widely understands as Feng Shui is just superficial knowledge that has been passed down in society since the popularity of Feng Shui in the Ming and Qing dynasties. It has formed many Feng Shui sects, such as Xiankong, Lu Yao, and Li Qi. There are mainly 2 types of Feng Shui literature that can be seen today: Form and Compass School. Li Qi. Form mainly refers to the 5 elements of mountains, dragons, graves, sand, water, and orientation, while Compass School incorporates studies theory such as the 9 palaces and 8 trigrams, yin and yang, and 5 elements. In fact, these are just some experiences summarized by Feng Shui masters throughout the ages. Without receiving the true transmission, only relying on these experiences to make inferences will lead to a limited understanding of form without understanding the spirit, resulting in disputes between Feng Shui sects. For example, in the same place, the Xiankong sect says it is suitable for burial while the Compass School says it is not, but the latter has been proven to be effective after burial. In another place, the Compass School says it is suitable while the Xiankong says it is not, but the former is also effective after burial. So, which is correct, the Xiankong or the Compass School? In the practice of Feng Shui, we find that whether a place is a real cave depends on whether there is a spirit in the cave. We call the spirit that resides in the cave the Earth Spirit God. It also depends on whether the Feng Shui master has the virtue to communicate with and activate the Earth Spirit God, not just based on the terrain of the place. Some people believe that Feng Shui is a discipline that has been formed over a long period of time through the accumulation of experience in surveying the terrain. If that is the case, then with the modernization of technology today, anyone who wants to be an emperor can simply use modern machinery to create an artificial cave based on the summary of their experience with terrain, right? Why can't they do it? It is because people can create the terrain based on Feng Shui models, but they cannot arrange for an Earth Spirit God to reside there. Feng Shui is classified as a secular discipline of Taoism. Taoist culture believes that the root of human life is in heaven, and the goal of human life is to gradually approach and ultimately assimilate with one's innate nature through cultivation, known as returning to the origin and achieving the truth. In the process of returning to one's innate nature, a Feng Shui master with the Taoist practice gradually approaches the ability of the divine, and supernormal abilities appear, allowing them to see the qi on the cave and even the energy emanating from the Earth Spirit God corresponding to that cave. Some with higher abilities can even directly see the image of the Earth Spirit God residing in the cave. The greater the effect of the Earth Spirit God corresponding to the cave, the better the cave. Therefore, the real reason why Feng Shui works is the role of the spirit behind the shape. Chinese traditional culture is a culture that worships the gods, and many ancient books and legends record and pass down the period in ancient times when people and gods lived together on the land of our great country. At that time, the immortals often appeared on Earth to teach primitive people various cultures and skills, and people could understand the will of heaven by communicating directly with the immortals without the need for divination. According to legend, some virtuous people became Feng Shui masters through direct instruction from immortals. The folklore of Tang Dynasty Feng Shui master Yang Junsong is that he met the nine heavens mysterious woman in the mountains and learned Feng Shui from her, and became a master of the craft. Therefore, in the lineage of the authentic Yang family Feng Shui, their ancestor worship is the nine heavens mysterious woman. The earliest recorded Feng Shui master in the Feng Shui world is Qin Guzi, who is said to be a minister in the time of the Yellow Emperor. This is the earliest story about Feng Shui in the Eastern Civilization period, and it is where the story begins.